Yes, this is apartment 4B.
It starts with a phone vibrating at 3 a.m., and my wife Zoe's voice echoing through our downtown Denver condo. I'm done with his lies. Watch me throw him out of his place. I'm lying in the spare room, been sleeping there for weeks now, watching her Instagram live from my phone like some masochistic voyeur. The screen shows 12,347 viewers and climbing. Welcome to the Henry Humiliation Hour, starring my soon-to-be ex-wife and thousands of rubberneckers who've got nothing better to do at 3 in the morning. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. He thinks he can control me because he pays the mortgage, Zoe sobs into her ring light, mascara running in perfectly calculated streaks. But I'm taking back my power tonight. I've been married to this woman for 5 years. 5 years of watching her transform from a sweet marketing coordinator into this thing. This creature who measures her worth in likes and follows, who stages our fights for content, who's turned our private life into a reality show nobody asked for. The comments are rolling in fast. You go, girl! Kick him out! He looks like a loser anyway. That last one stings because, yeah, I probably do. I'm 45, balding, and I wear the same 3 polo shirts to work at Morrison Real Estate. I'm not Instagram material, never was. But here's what these keyboard warriors don't know. I own this place. Every square foot of this overpriced downtown high-rise was paid for with my commission checks from selling million-dollar properties to tech bros and oil executives. Zoe's never contributed a dime to the mortgage, but she's redecorated it 3 times for different aesthetic phases she's documented online. I'm changing the locks right now, she announces to her audience, holding up a screwdriver like it's Excalibur. Security can't stop me. This is my home too. That's my cue. I roll out of bed, throw on yesterday's jeans, and walk into the living room. The camera catches me in the background, and the comments explode. Husband alert! He looks mad. This is getting good. Hey, babe, I say, my voice carrying that flat tone I've perfected over months of dealing with her drama. What you doing? Zoe spins around, eyes wide. She's caught between panic and performance, trying to maintain her victim narrative while dealing with the reality of me standing there in my boxers and yesterday's t-shirt. Henry, get out! I'm live! I can see that. I lean against the kitchen counter, arms crossed. 12,000 people watching you commit breaking and entering. That's a new record, right? The viewer count is actually climbing. 15,191 now. Nothing like a good domestic dispute to drive engagement. This is my apartment too, she shrieks, but there's uncertainty creeping into her voice. I walk over to the kitchen drawer, pull out a manila folder, and hold it up to the camera. This is the lease, folks. Henry Morrison, sole tenant. Zoe Morrison, not listed anywhere because she's never paid a bill in her life. The comments shift. Oop. Plot twist. She's cooked. Zoe's face goes white under her foundation. She's realizing that performing for an audience means I can perform too. And unlike her, I've got documentation. I pull out my phone and dial building security, putting it on speaker. Hey, Mike? It's Henry in 2847. Yeah, I need someone to remove an unauthorized person who's attempting to change my locks. She's also broadcasting it live to about 16,000 people, so you might want to bring backup. On our way, Henry. Mike's gravelly voice comes through the speaker. 5 minutes. The comment section is going insane. Zoe's carefully crafted narrative is crumbling in real time, and her audience is eating it up. Some are still supporting her, but more and more are turning. He got receipts. She played herself. This is embarrassing. You can't do this to me, Zoe whispers, but she's still holding the phone, still streaming, still performing even as her world implodes. I'm not doing anything to you, I say, looking directly into her camera. You're doing it to yourself. Live in front of 17,000 strangers. The elevator dings in the hallway. Heavy footsteps approach our door. Building security, open up. I unlock the door to reveal Mike and two other guards. Mike's been working this building for 8 years. He's seen Zoe's tantrums before, but never with this kind of audience. What's the situation, Henry? My wife is attempting to change the locks on my apartment without permission. She's also streaming it live, which I'm pretty sure violates several building policies about filming in common areas. Mike looks at the camera, then at Zoe, who's frozen with the screwdriver still in her hand. Ma'am, I'm going to need you to come with us. I live here, she protests, but her voice cracks. Not according to the lease, Mike says, surprisingly gentle. And definitely not if you're changing locks without landlord approval. The viewer count has hit 18,432, Zoe's biggest audience ever, and it's for all the wrong reasons. This isn't over, she hisses at me as Mike escorts her toward the door. Hope your viewers enjoyed the show, I say, staring directly into her camera lens. The stream cuts out as the elevator doors close. I'm alone in my apartment for the first time in months, and the silence is deafening. My phone buzzes with notifications. Screenshots of her stream are already making their way to Reddit and Twitter. I'm about to become a meme, and I can't decide if that's better or worse than being a doormat. But here's what I know. This is just the beginning. Zoe doesn't give up easily, and she's got nothing to lose now except the last shreds of her dignity. She'll come back swinging, probably with lawyers and definitely with more social media drama. The thing is, I've been underestimated my whole life. Blue-collar kid who worked his way through community college, built a real estate career from nothing, married up and spent years being treated like I should be grateful for the privilege. Everyone sees the boring husband, the beta male, the guy who's lucky his wife even looks at him. They're about to learn they've been wrong about Henry Morrison. By morning, I'm internet famous for all the wrong reasons. Lockgate is trending on TikTok, and someone's already made a remix of Zoe saying, "This is my apartment too," with a beat drop when I show the lease. My phone won't stop buzzing. Text messages from numbers I don't recognize, friend requests on Facebook from people with anime profile pictures, and 3 missed calls from my mother in Grand Junction, who somehow heard about this before I could warn her. The worst part? My co-workers at Morrison Real Estate have seen everything. I walk into the office at 8:30, hoping to slip in unnoticed, but Danny Kowalski from Commercial Sales is waiting by the coffee machine with a shit-eating grin. Well, well, well. If it isn't Denver's newest celebrity, he says, loud enough for half the office to hear. Dude, that was epic. The way you just stood there with the lease, chef's kiss. It wasn't supposed to be epic, I mutter, pouring coffee that's already been sitting too long. It was supposed to be private. Nothing's private when you're married to an influencer, says Marlene Rodriguez from the cubicle behind me. She's been my partner on several big deals, knows the real estate game inside and out, and she's one of the few people here who's seen how Zoe treats me at office parties. I've been telling you for months that girl was trouble. Marlene's right, but hearing it doesn't make me feel better. It makes me feel stupid for not seeing it sooner, for letting it go on as long as I did, for thinking love could overcome the fundamental incompatibility between someone who values privacy and someone who monetizes every intimate moment. Have you seen her latest post? Danny asks, already pulling up Instagram on his phone. She's playing the victim hard. He shows me the screen. Zoe's posted a carousel of photos, mostly old couple shots of us, but edited to make me look darker, more menacing. The caption is a novel-length sob story about emotional abuse and financial control and escaping a toxic situation. She's tagged it with _survivor story and finding my voice. The comments are split. Half are supporting her, calling me a monster based on her carefully curated version of events. The other half are calling bullshit, posting screenshots from last night's stream where she admitted I pay for everything. She's got balls, I'll give her that, Marlene says, reading over my shoulder, trying to flip the script after everyone saw her breaking into your place. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Saw the drama last night. This is Liam Chen, Zoe's brand consultant. We should talk. Liam Chen. I've heard that name whispered in late-night phone calls, seen it in Instagram DMs that Zoe thought she'd hidden well enough. Brand consultant, my ass. He's the guy she's been seeing for the past 3 months. Tall, young, perfectly styled hair, and a smile that screams, trust fund baby pretending to be an entrepreneur. I text back, nothing to discuss. His response comes immediately. Actually, there is. Coffee? 11 a.m. at Ritual on Larimer? Something about his tone, confident, almost threatening, makes my stomach clench. But I'm curious. What could Zoe's boy toy possibly want to discuss with me? I'll be there, I type. At 11, I'm sitting in Ritual Coffee, watching hipsters in expensive thrift store clothes tap away on MacBooks while sipping $16 lattes. This is Zoe's world, not mine. I'm more comfortable in dive bars and boxing gyms, places where people say what they mean and mean what they say. Liam walks in at 11:07, fashionably late and perfectly put together in a way that probably took an hour to achieve. Artfully messy hair, designer jeans that cost more than my car payment, and a smile that doesn't reach his eyes. "Henry," he says, extending a hand like we're old friends. "Thanks for meeting me." I don't shake his hand. "What do you want, Liam?" He sits across from me, orders something complicated with oat milk and extra foam. "Look, I know the situation is messy. Zoe's emotional, you're angry, things got out of hand last night." Things got out of hand when she tried to change my locks on Instagram Live. Right, about that. His smile falters slightly. She was upset. She wasn't thinking clearly. But the thing is, Henry, she's got a platform. 87,000 followers who trust her voice. And right now, that voice is telling a story about you that, well, it's not great for your reputation. I lean back in my chair, studying this kid who can't be more than 35 and talks like he's running a Fortune 500 company. "Are you threatening me?" "I'm offering you a solution. Zoe's willing to keep the details private, the real details about your marriage, if you're reasonable about the divorce settlement." "What real details?" Liam's smile returns, predatory now. "Come on, Henry. We both know you weren't exactly husband of the year. The drinking, the anger issues, the way you controlled her finances. I don't have anger issues, and I don't control anything. She has access to all our accounts." That's not how she tells it, and with her platform, her story becomes the truth. You saw how fast those clips went viral last night. Imagine if she really decided to destroy you. The coffee shop suddenly feels too small, too warm. This pretty boy is sitting across from me, casually discussing the destruction of my reputation, like he's ordering lunch. And the worst part is, he's not wrong about the power of social media to shape narrative. What does she want? Half of everything: the condo, your retirement accounts, alimony for 3 years while she rebuilds her brand. In exchange, she keeps the divorce quiet and doesn't share the less flattering stories about your relationship. I think about the stories he might mean. The time I lost my temper when she spent our vacation fund on a camera without asking. The night I came home drunk after losing a major sale and said some things I regretted. The fights where I told her that her influence career was just an expensive hobby. None of it was abuse, but in the right hands, with the right editing, it could look like it. "I need time to think about it," I say. "Of course. But Henry?" He leans forward, his voice dropping to a whisper. "Don't think too long. Zoe's got a lot of content she hasn't shared yet. It would be a shame if it accidentally went public." He stands up, leaves a 20 on the table for his untouched latte, and walks out like he owns the place. I sit there for another hour, watching the hipsters type their novels and drink their overpriced coffee, trying to process what just happened. This kid, this boy who's been sleeping with my wife, just tried to extort me. Politely, with a smile and designer jeans, but extortion nonetheless. My phone buzzes with a notification. Zoe's posted a new video, this one filmed in what looks like a hotel room. She's makeup-free, wearing an oversized sweater, looking vulnerable and broken. "I want to thank everyone for the support," she says, her voice small and shaky. "Last night was traumatic, but it opened my eyes to how bad things had gotten. I'm somewhere safe now, taking time to heal and figure out my next steps. I'll be sharing more of my story soon because I think it's important for other women to know they're not alone." The comments are overwhelmingly supportive now. Her follower count has jumped to 94,000 overnight. She's monetizing our marriage's destruction in real time, and she's winning. But here's what Liam and Zoe don't understand about me. I didn't build a successful real estate career by backing down from bullies. I've negotiated with oil executives who could buy and sell this entire coffee shop, dealt with clients who thought they could intimidate me because of my background, my clothes, my lack of college pedigree. I've been underestimated before. It usually doesn't end well for the people doing the underestimating. Time to remind Denver why you don't corner a man with nothing left to lose. The first thing I do is call my lawyer, Patricia Hoffman, who's handled real estate transactions for me for years. She's tough, smart, and completely unimpressed by social media drama. "Henry, I saw the videos," she says, before I can even explain why I'm calling. "My daughter showed them to me. This is a mess." It's about to get messier. Zoe's boyfriend just tried to extort me. I tell her about the coffee meeting with Liam, his threats about releasing damaging content, the demands for half my assets. Patricia listens without interrupting, which I appreciate. Most people want to jump in with advice or judgment. She just takes notes. "Do you have any evidence of this conversation?" she asks. "Just my word against his." That's not enough. But the good news is, if they're making demands like this, they're probably bluffing about having anything truly damaging. Real abuse victims don't usually negotiate settlements. They flee. So what do? Document everything. Save all her social media posts, especially the ones where she contradicts herself. Get copies of your financial records showing you've supported her for years. And Henry, don't meet with this Liam character again without recording the conversation. After hanging up with Patricia, I drive to my old boxing gym on the south side of town. Murphy's Boxing is the kind of place that hasn't changed in 30 years. Cracked leather heavy bags, speed bags that sound like machine guns, and the permanent smell of sweat and determination. Coach Murphy is 73 years old and built like a fire hydrant. He's been training fighters since before I was born, and he's one of the few people who knew me before I had money, before I married up, when I was just another working-class kid trying to prove himself. "Heard you're having woman troubles," he says as I wrap my hands for the heavy bag. News travels fast. "My granddaughter showed me the videos. That wife of yours is a piece of work." I start hitting the bag, letting out months of frustration with each punch. Left jab, right cross, left hook. The rhythm is meditative, familiar. This is where I learned to channel anger into something productive. "She's trying to take everything, Coach. The house, my savings, my reputation. What are you going to do about it?" "I don't know yet." Murphy stops the bag with both hands, forcing me to look at him. "Son, I've been training fighters for 50 years. You know what separates winners from losers? Winners don't just react, they plan. They study their opponent, find weaknesses, exploit them. This isn't a boxing match. Everything's a boxing match if you're fighting for something that matters." On the drive home, Murphy's words stick with me. Study the opponent. Find weaknesses. I've been playing defense since this whole thing started, letting Zoe control the narrative, letting her boyfriend make threats. Time to go on offense. I start with social media forensics. Zoe's Instagram goes back 3 years, and I screenshot everything. Every post about our relationship, every story about her struggles, every contradiction in her narrative. The woman who's now claiming I financially controlled her has dozens of posts showing expensive purchases I made for her, trips I paid for, gifts I bought. Then I dive deeper. Her DMs with Liam aren't as private as she thinks. We share an iCloud account, and she never changed the password. What I find makes my stomach turn. 3 months of messages, planning meetups while I was at work, jokes about my appearance, my age, my boring job, discussions about how to manage me during the divorce, how to maximize her settlement. But the worst message is from 2 weeks ago. He's so clueless. I could probably convince him to give me the condo if I play the abuse angle right. These followers eat that shit up. My hands are shaking as I screenshot the conversation. This isn't just infidelity, it's premeditated fraud. She's been planning to destroy my reputation for months, building a case based on lies and social media manipulation. I text Patricia, "Found something. Can you meet tonight?" Her response is immediate. My office, 8 p.m. At 8 o'clock, I'm sitting across from Patricia in her downtown law office, showing her the screenshots on my laptop. She reads them twice, her expression getting grimmer with each pass. "This changes everything," she says finally. "If she's planning to commit perjury in divorce proceedings, if she's defaming you on social media for financial gain, Henry, you might not just win this divorce, you might destroy her." "What do you mean?" "Defamation per se. Intentional infliction of emotional distress. If we can prove she's lying about abuse for financial gain, she could owe you damages. Plus, these messages show clear evidence of adultery, which affects alimony calculations in Colorado. For the first time in weeks, I feel something other than dread, hope, maybe, or just the satisfaction of finally having ammunition in a fight I didn't start." "There's more," I say. "I want to investigate this Liam character. Something about him doesn't add up." Patricia nods. "I know a private investigator, former Denver PD, very thorough. But Henry, this is going to get expensive, and it's going to get ugly. It's already ugly, and I'd rather be broke than destroyed." The next morning, I meet with Jake Sullivan, Patricia's private investigator, at a diner on Colfax. He's exactly what you'd expect. Rumpled clothes, tired eyes, and a handshake that could crack walnuts. "Your lawyer filled me in," he says, ordering black coffee and wheat toast. "Cheating wife, social media drama, extortion attempts. Standard stuff, really." "Standard? You'd be amazed how common this is now. Social media gives everyone a platform to destroy their enemies. The smart ones monetize it." I show him screenshots of Liam's social media presence. Designer clothes, expensive restaurants, luxury cars. Either he's very successful or very good at faking it. "This guy's interesting," Jake says, studying the photos. "Claims to be a brand consultant, but I don't see any actual brands he represents. Lives in a penthouse downtown, drives a BMW, but his LinkedIn shows he's only been in business for 2 years. So he's fake? Or he's got family money? Or he's running some kind of scam? Give me a week, I'll know everything about Liam Chen except his shoe size." "What about Zoe?" "What about her? You were married to her. You probably know her better than anyone." "I thought I did, but the woman in those messages, I don't recognize her." Jake finishes his coffee and stands up. "People show you who they really are when they think they can get away with it. Your wife thought she was smarter than you, thought she could manipulate you through social media pressure. Now she's finding out different. Am I doing the right thing here? Son, she tried to steal your house on live television. You're not doing anything to her, you're just making sure the truth comes out." That afternoon, I get a call from my buddy Tom Chen from the gym. No relation to Liam, despite the name. Tom's been my sparring partner for 3 years, works construction, and has about as much in common with Zoe's boyfriend as I do with a Kardashian. "Dude, you need to see this," he says. "Turn on Channel 7. I flip to the local news, just in time to see a perfectly coiffed reporter standing outside my building. "The viral video that's been sweeping social media has taken a darker turn," she says. "Zoe Morrison, the Denver influencer whose attempted eviction was broadcast live to thousands of viewers, is now speaking out about what she calls years of emotional and financial abuse." The screen cuts to an interview with Zoe, filmed in soft lighting that makes her look young and vulnerable. She's telling her story, my story, our story, but it's been twisted into something unrecognizable. I'm the controlling husband who monitored her spending, isolated her from friends, threatened her when she tried to leave. I finally found the courage to change those locks, she says, tears glistening. I knew he'd be angry, but I didn't care anymore. I was ready to take back my life. The reporter nods sympathetically. What's next for you? I'm working with my legal team to ensure my safety and my rights, and I want other women to know. If you're in a situation like mine, there is help. There is hope. The segment ends with information about domestic violence resources and Zoe's Instagram handle. My phone immediately starts buzzing with calls from reporters, neighbors, co-workers. The story's gone from viral social media drama to local news to what feels like the beginning of a national conversation about abuse and social media. Except it's all built on lies. I text Jake, "How fast can you work?" His response comes back immediately. Fast enough, trust me. Jake Sullivan works faster than I expected. 3 days after our diner meeting, he calls with preliminary results. Your boy Liam is a fraud, he says without preamble. Real name is William Chen from San Francisco. Parents cut him off 2 years ago after he blew through a $50,000 trust fund trying to start an influencer marketing company that never got off the ground. So how's he affording the penthouse and the BMW? Credit cards and loans. He's about 6 months away from bankruptcy, maybe less. The penthouse is a sublet he's not supposed to have, and the BMW is leased under someone else's name, probably an ex-girlfriend. This is better than I hoped. What about his business? Chen Brand Consulting exists on paper and Instagram, but I can't find a single actual client. No contracts, no invoices, no tax filings that show real income. He's basically a professional boyfriend at this point. Can you prove all this? Already have. Credit reports, court filings, even photos of him getting his car repossessed last month. He got it back somehow, but the repo company keeps good records. I'm sitting in my kitchen, looking out at the Denver skyline, feeling something I haven't felt in months: control. Jake, you're worth every penny. There's more. Your wife's been busy too. She's got meetings scheduled with 3 different talent agencies next week. Apparently, she's trying to parlay this abuse story into a book deal and speaking engagements. The audacity is breathtaking. She's not just destroying my reputation. She's building a career on the wreckage. What's our next move? That's up to you and your lawyer. But if I were you, I'd get ahead of this before she signs any deals. Once she's got agents and publishers involved, it gets a lot more complicated. I call Patricia immediately. She listens to Jake's findings without interruption, and I can practically hear her taking notes. This is good, Henry. Really good, but we need to be strategic about how we use it. If we come out swinging too hard, too fast, it looks like retaliation. What do you suggest? Let me make some calls. I think it's time to have a conversation with Zoe's lawyer. That afternoon, I'm back at Murphy's gym, working the speed bag and trying to process everything. The rhythmic drumming helps me think, and I need to think clearly about what comes next. You look better, Murphy says, watching me work. Lighter. I might actually win this thing, coach. Winning's not about beating your opponent, he says. It's about not losing yourself in the process. I stop hitting the bag. What do you mean? I've seen good men turn into something ugly when they get hurt. Don't let anger make you into someone you don't recognize. Murphy's right, and I know it. Part of me wants to destroy Zoe the way she tried to destroy me. Put all of Jake's findings on social media, expose her lies, watch her follower count plummet as her reputation burns. But that would make me just like her. Someone who uses public humiliation as a weapon. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. We need to talk. Liam. I show the message to Murphy. He reads it and grins. Sounds like your opponent's getting desperate. Should I meet with him? What did your lawyer say about recording conversations? Right. Patricia's advice about documentation. I text Liam back. Same place as before, 1 hour. This time, I'm ready. I arrive at Ritual Coffee early, choose a table in the back corner, and set up my phone to record. Colorado is a one-party consent state, which means I can legally record our conversation as long as I'm part of it. Liam walks in, looking less polished than before. His hair is messier, his clothes are wrinkled, and there's something desperate in his eyes. The confident pretty boy from our first meeting has been replaced by someone who's clearly under pressure. "Henry, thanks for coming," he says, sitting down heavily. "Look, things have gotten out of hand." "Have they?" She's not thinking clearly. This whole media thing, the interviews, the book deal meetings, it's spiraling. Book deal meetings? He realizes his mistake immediately, but it's too late. I already know about the meetings from Jake, but now I have Liam confirming them on record. "The point is," he continues, "we need to find a way to de-escalate this situation, for everyone's sake." "What are you proposing?" "Same deal as before, but better terms. Zoe keeps the abuse allegations private, you give her a reasonable settlement. Everybody moves on with their lives." I lean back in my chair, studying him. The desperation is more obvious now. The way his hands shake slightly, how he keeps checking his phone, the sweat on his forehead despite the air conditioning. "Liam, can I ask you something?" "Sure. How much debt are you in?" His face goes white. "What? Credit cards, loans, back rent? What's the total?" "I don't know what you're talking about." "William Chen, originally from San Francisco. Parents cut you off after you blew through your trust fund. Currently about 6 months from bankruptcy, living in a sublet you're not supposed to have, driving a car that's been repossessed at least once." He stares at me like I've just spoken in a foreign language. "How do you—" "I'm a real estate agent, William. I know how to investigate people's finances. The question is, how much of Zoe's potential settlement were you planning to take?" The coffee shop suddenly feels very quiet. Liam's looking around like he's planning an escape route, but there's nowhere to go. I've got him cornered, and we both know it. "You don't understand," he says finally. "Zoe's convinced herself that her story is true. She believes you abused her. Because you helped convince her. I never— Those DMs I saw suggest otherwise. All those conversations about playing the abuse angle, about managing me during the divorce. You helped her build this narrative because you needed her to get money from me." Liam's phone buzzes, and he glances at it. His face goes even whiter, if that's possible. "Problem?" I ask. "My landlord, the real one. He found out about the sublet." "So you're homeless and broke, dating my wife for her potential divorce settlement, and now you're trying to extort me to save your own ass." He doesn't deny it. Can't deny it, really, because it's all true. "What do you want?" he asks. "I want you to disappear. Leave Denver, leave Zoe, leave me alone. In exchange, I don't share what I know about your financial situation with your creditors, your fake clients, or Zoe." "You can't prove—" I slide a manila folder across the table. Credit reports, court filings, repo records, lease violations. My private investigator is very thorough. Liam opens the folder and flips through the pages, his entire fraudulent life documented in black and white. "If I leave," he says quietly, "Zoe will still go through with the book deal, the interviews. She doesn't need me to destroy you. Let me worry about Zoe." He closes the folder and looks at me with something that might be respect. "I underestimated you. Everyone does. It's my secret weapon." Liam stands up, takes the folder, and walks toward the door. Then he stops and turns back. "For what it's worth," he says, "I don't think she meant for it to go this far. She got caught up in the attention." "William?" "Yeah? I really don't care." He nods and walks out of my life forever. I sit there for a few minutes, finishing my coffee and reviewing the recording on my phone. Clear audio, damning admissions, and enough evidence to completely undermine Zoe's credibility if she tries to take this to court. But Murphy's words keep echoing in my head. Don't let anger make you into someone you don't recognize. The question is, who am I, really? Am I the boring, reliable husband who takes abuse quietly? Or am I someone who fights back when cornered? I guess we're about to find out. With Liam out of the picture, Zoe's story starts falling apart faster than I expected. Jake calls me 2 days later with an update that makes me almost feel sorry for her. "Your wife's in full panic mode," he says. Chen disappeared without warning, cleaned out his sublet in the middle of the night, left no forwarding address. She's been calling him nonstop, posting cryptic Instagram stories about betrayal and abandonment. What about the book deal meetings? Cancelled. Apparently the publishers wanted to meet with both of you to get both sides of the story. Without her boyfriend backing up her claims, and with you refusing to participate, they're not interested in a one-sided abuse memoir. I'm sitting in my office at Morrison Real Estate, trying to focus on actual work, while my personal life implodes and rebuilds simultaneously. Marlene stops by my cubicle with coffee and a concerned expression. "How are you holding up?" she asks. "Better than expected. You?" "I've been thinking about something," she says, sitting on the edge of my desk. "About Zoe. About how this all started." "What do you mean?" Marlene looks uncomfortable, like she's about to confess something. "Henry, I need to tell you something. About 3 months ago, Zoe came to see me, here, at the office. This is news to me. Zoe never mentioned visiting Marlene, and they barely knew each other beyond office Christmas parties. She was asking questions about your finances, your commission structure, your client list, how much you typically make in a year. She said she was planning a surprise for your anniversary and wanted to budget appropriately." "What did you tell her?" "Everything. God, Henry, I'm so sorry. I thought she was being a good wife, trying to plan something special. I had no idea she was planning to take half of it in a divorce." Marlene nods miserably. "She also asked about your schedule, when you'd be working late, when you'd be out of town for closings. I thought she was being considerate, but now I realize she was planning when to meet with Liam." We sit in silence for a moment, processing the implications. Zoe's affair wasn't spontaneous. It was calculated. She researched my finances, my schedule, my vulnerabilities before she ever met Liam. This wasn't a marriage that fell apart. It was a long-term con game. "There's more," Marlene says quietly. "She asked me about your past relationships, your temper, whether I'd ever seen you get violent or aggressive." "What did you tell her?" "The truth. That you're one of the most even-tempered people I know, that I've never seen you raise your voice, let alone your hand." "But Henry..." She seemed disappointed by that answer. The picture becomes clearer. Zoe wasn't just looking for ammunition against me. She was trying to build a case for abuse that didn't exist. When she couldn't find real evidence, she decided to manufacture it. My phone buzzes with a text from Patricia. "Emergency meeting. My office now." I find Patricia pacing behind her desk, looking more agitated than I've ever seen her. "We have a problem," she says before I can sit down. "Zoe's hired new representation, Marcus Steinberg." I don't recognize the name, but Patricia's expression tells me I should. Steinberg specializes in high-profile divorce cases, particularly ones involving abuse allegations. He's expensive, aggressive, and he doesn't take cases unless he thinks he can win big. How can she afford him? That's what worries me. Either she's found a financial backer, or Steinberg's working on contingency because he thinks your assets are worth the risk. Patricia hands me a legal document. This came by messenger an hour ago. It's a restraining order application, claiming I've been stalking and harassing Zoe since our separation. The allegations are detailed and specific, following her to coffee shops, sending threatening messages through intermediaries, using private investigators to invade her privacy. "This is all bullshit," I say, scanning the document. "I haven't contacted her once since the night security removed her." I know that, and you know that, but Steinberg's betting a judge won't know that. If this restraining order goes through, it gives credibility to all her other allegations. What's our defense? Patricia smiles grimly. The truth, and some very interesting phone recordings. The hearing is scheduled for the next morning. I spend the evening preparing with Patricia, reviewing timelines, organizing evidence, and trying not to think about how surreal it is that my life has become a legal proceeding. At 9 a.m., I'm sitting in a Denver courtroom watching my wife, soon-to-be ex-wife, testify about how terrified she is of me. She's dressed conservatively, speaking in a soft voice, playing the victim role perfectly. He's been following me, she tells Judge Martinez, dabbing at her eyes with a tissue. Having me watched by private investigators, sending his friends to intimidate me. I'm afraid of what he might do. Steinberg is good. I'll give him that. He's built a narrative that makes me sound like a dangerous stalker, using my legitimate investigation into her lies as evidence of harassment. When it's Patricia's turn, she stands up with a confidence that makes me feel slightly better. Your Honor, my client has had no direct contact with Ms. Morrison since the night she attempted to illegally change the locks on his apartment, an incident she broadcast live to thousands of social media followers. Patricia plays excerpts from Zoe's Instagram live stream, showing the judge exactly what happened that night. Zoe's own words, her own actions, undermining her claims of being a terrified victim. Furthermore, Patricia continues, we have evidence that Ms. Morrison's allegations are part of a deliberate campaign to defame my client for financial gain. She plays the recording of my conversation with Liam, his admissions about the book deal meetings, the plan to use abuse allegations as leverage in the divorce. Judge Martinez listens to everything without expression. When the evidence presentation ends, she looks directly at Zoe. Ms. Morrison, do you recognize the voice in that recording? Zoe glances at Steinberg, who nods slightly. Yes, Your Honor. That's Liam Chen, my friend. And do you deny that you were pursuing book deals and media appearances based on allegations of abuse against your husband? Your Honor, I was simply trying to tell my story. Ms. Morrison, yes or no? Were you monetizing these abuse allegations? The courtroom is silent. Zoe's perfect victim facade cracks slightly. Yes, but that doesn't mean they're not true. Judge Martinez makes some notes, then looks at both lawyers. I'm denying the restraining order application. The evidence suggests that Ms. Morrison's allegations are motivated by financial considerations rather than genuine fear. Furthermore, Mr. Morrison has demonstrated that he's been investigating his wife's claims through legal channels, not stalking or harassing her. Steinberg stands up. Your Honor, we respectfully... Mr. Steinberg, your client broadcast her marital disputes to thousands of strangers on social media, then claimed to be afraid of publicity when her husband defended himself. The application is denied. Walking out of the courthouse, I feel something I haven't felt in months. Vindication. Not just legal victory, but the satisfaction of having the truth recognized by someone with the authority to make it official. Patricia is practically glowing. That was beautiful, she says. Steinberg's reputation just took a major hit, and Zoe's credibility is destroyed. If she tries to proceed with the divorce on abuse grounds, we'll crucify her. What happens now? Now we negotiate from a position of strength. She's got no leverage, no credible allegations, and no financial backing. I expect a very reasonable settlement offer within the week. That evening, I'm at Murphy's gym, working the heavy bag and trying to process everything that's happened. The old coach watches me for a while, then stops the bag with his hands. You did good, son, he says. Fought smart, stayed clean, protected yourself without becoming something ugly. It's not over yet. The fight's over. Everything else is just paperwork. Murphy's right. The real battle, the one for my reputation, my dignity, my sense of self, that's been won. Zoe can keep posting on social media, keep trying to rebuild her narrative, but the legal system has spoken. The truth is, on record. My phone buzzes with a notification. Zoe's posted a new Instagram story, this one from what looks like her mother's house in Colorado Springs. "Sometimes you have to step back and reassess," she says to the camera, looking tired and defeated. "I'm taking some time to figure out my next chapter, away from the noise and drama. Thank you to everyone who supported me through this difficult time." The comments are sparse compared to her earlier posts. Her follower count has dropped to 73,000 and falling. The influencer economy is brutal. One whiff of dishonesty, one public humiliation, and the audience moves on to the next shiny object. I don't feel sorry for her. I don't feel vindicated either. Mostly, I feel tired, but also free. For the first time in years, I'm not walking on eggshells, not worrying about being filmed without my knowledge, not having my private moments turned into public content. My apartment is quiet, my phone isn't buzzing with notifications, and nobody's analyzing my every word for signs of toxicity. 3 days later, Patricia calls with news. "Settlement offer came in," she says. "Zoe's asking for $20,000 and her personal belongings. No alimony, no claim on the condo, no ongoing support." "That's it?" "That's it. Steinberg's clearly advised her to cut her losses and run. Do you want to accept?" $20,000. Less than I spent on her last birthday party. Less than she charged on credit cards in a typical month. It's nothing, considering what she tried to take. "Counteroffer," I say. 10,000, and she signs a non-disclosure agreement about our marriage. No book deals, no interviews, no social media content about our relationship. She'll never agree to that. Then we go to trial and I sue her for defamation. Her choice. Patricia calls back 2 hours later. She accepted, 10,000 and an NDA. Her lawyer wants to finalize everything by the end of the week. Why the rush? I think she's broke. Without Liam's fake business connections and with her influencer career tanking, she's probably desperate for cash. The papers are signed on a Friday afternoon in Patricia's office. Zoe looks smaller somehow, diminished. The confident social media personality has been replaced by someone who won't make eye contact, who signs documents quickly and leaves without saying a word. I watch her walk out of the building from Patricia's window, getting into an old Honda that definitely doesn't belong to her, probably borrowed from her mother or a friend. The BMW and the penthouse lifestyle were all Liam's illusion, and now that he's gone, reality has set in hard. "How do you feel?" Patricia asks, "like I can breathe again." That night, I'm home in my quiet apartment, cooking dinner for one and not worrying about ring lights or camera angles or whether my meal is photogenic enough for social media. I'm reading a book, an actual paper book, and drinking a beer without anyone commenting on my alcohol consumption. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. "Saw the news about your divorce. Coffee sometime? Sarah." Sarah Martinez, a real estate attorney I've worked with on several deals. Smart, funny, completely uninterested in social media. I've always found her attractive, but I was married and she was professional. I text back, "I'd like that." Her response comes quickly. "Great. Fair warning, though. I don't have an Instagram account, so you'll have to tell me about your day the old-fashioned way." I laugh out loud for the first time in months. Maybe Murphy was right. The fight is over and everything else is just the beginning.